Hello people, it's Rodney VanAlstine, living well on half an acre. We're at another point in our video series for canning potatoes. We got them all sliced up and peeled and washed and diced up, and now we got our jars boiled up, and now it's time to do another process. This is just how I go about it. I do a lot of canning, so I have quite a few pots of jars going to once all the time. What I do is I gotta use this pot for my pressure cooker canning, so I have to remove some of the water that's in it, because I only need about half a pot or whatever of water before I put the jars in. So I'm taking these jars out and I'm putting this hot water, I'm transferring it over here to this other pot, because I can use this same hot water for putting into the jars after I put my potatoes in there. And another thing I wanted to say is that when you wash your potatoes, you have them here in the sink. You want to, after you rinse them, you can rinse them all in cold water, rinse whatever dirt and debris or whatever's on them, but you rinse them all in cold water. And when you're sitting there storing them, you want to, just before you put them into the hot jars, you want to set hot water into them potatoes so they're warm. Because if you put a cold potato into this hot jar, this jar is going to explode. It's going to get, because it is extremely hot. And if you put the cold potatoes into these hot jars, the change in temperature will make the jars break. But this is just another process. I got the potatoes sitting in warm water right now. So when I get this here done, I'm going to bring my pressure cooker canner down to the level of water that I need. Well, that's fun. You got to be extremely careful, because you're messing with boiling hot water and hot glass. If you ain't careful, you're going to burn yourself, you're going to break your jar. You just got to be really careful. My countertops is that not real granite or whatever, so I put towels under there to absorb the heat. But now that I got a little bit of water out of there, I can pick this up. It ain't so heavy. That's about right there. Now what I can do is I got my funnel here. What I need is a slotted soup ladle. I guess this will work. You take your potatoes and they're warmed up from the water, hot water in there, and so they're not cooling your jars down and trying to break them so easy. But when you're canning potatoes, shake them up and it'll let them settle. Now we got our jar full of potatoes. The jar's warm, cooled down a little bit, but you put a teaspoon of salt per quart jar, half teaspoon per pint jar. And there's your preservative. Now you can use this ladle and get this hot water, and that's what your medium is. I'm in the way of the camera, but you want 1 inch of head space with the quart jars, and that's pretty much right around the neck of the jar. Right around the neck of the jar is 1 inch. Oh, I ain't prepared. Forgot my tongs. I had to use my tongs to get my lids out of the pot. The scalded lids. I put this on top of there. Make sure there ain't no debris or nothing. You usually wipe the lid, the rim of the jar. But you put your lid on there. You got your water, you got your salt, you got potatoes, so half a teaspoon of salt. Some people like to put lemon juice in there to help keep its color, and I don't disagree with that, but I just didn't do it this time. But you boil your lids and you just stick it right back in there. And once you get all of them filled up, there'll be, this here's a 22 quart pressure cooker canner. Once you get your 7 quarts, this holds 7 quart jars. Once you get all your 7 quart jars on there, you put it down and set your lid on it. Make sure your gasket's set in there right. And you put it in there. Put your 10 pounds of pressure for this area. And you got to cook it for 40 minutes. As soon as that bobbler starts to whistle on there, you cut your burner down to where it's just keeps it going, and it takes 40 minutes. And after 40 minutes, you cut your stove right off, and you put a spoon underneath of it. When we get to that point, when we get to a little more, I'll give you another shout and I'll let you in on a little more.